Live from WTVO 17 and your home team. Eyewitness News at 6 starts now.
Stress on the healthcare system. The new request from hospitals as the number of COVID cases ticks up across the state line. Making college attainable. The new proposal to get thousands of Rockford High School students to NIU for free. And one of a kind, a local man recounts his 8 episodes on Jeopardy. His kind words about the late Alex Trebek. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy. Eric is off tonight. Gusty winds, downpours, and hail. A strong line of storms roared through the state line a few hours ago. We have pictures to show you that were taken throughout many parts of the area of what it looked like when that blew through. Candice was tracking it all afternoon. She joins us now with more. Candice?
Yeah, you know, that was our real first severe threat that we had since the August 10th derecho. We've had some rain and some thunderstorms, but that was our first significant one in over 2 weeks, and it did pack a punch. We had winds that were reported 65 to even 70, 75 miles per hour with some of those thunderstorms as they worked in. Now, the good news for us, all of this is moving off to the east. All the warnings we had, the tornado watch we had, all expired, so we have no threat for any severe weather, but our concern now is going to be that wind, because that wind is coming in pretty strong as that colder air comes in behind that front. But we've had quite a bit of wind damage reports and wind reports come in, as this was mostly a wind producing event and kind of centralized and localized a bit more over Winnebago County. We had numerous reports of some wind damage. 72 mile per hour wind gust reported at the Rockford Airport. Wind damage in and around the Byron area had a wind gust over 70 miles per hour there. Same thing, some damage out in Belvedere up towards Poplar Grove. Actually had a wind report coming in of 70 miles per hour. So with some of that damage a little bit more centralized over Winnebago County, it was along the northern edge of that line that we actually started to see that structure bow out. So it increased and enhanced that wind as it moved into parts of northern Ogle, Winnebago, southern Rock County, and then eventually into southeastern Wisconsin, excuse me. Joe shared this picture along with some of the wind that we had. We also had hail, and when you combine that with a 70 mile per hour wind gust, not only did we see damage to siding, here is what this picture is showing, but we also had reports of car windows broken out. Patrick Murray, our first warned storm spotter, reported in Winnebago numerous cars that had their windows broken, most likely from some of that wind driven hail. Kimberly shared this picture. This was out in Boone County as the storm was coming through, and this is what we call a shelf cloud, and you can see the rain back behind it. So with that approaching shelf cloud, that's where you're going to get all of that wind, and that's exactly what we had, and even some hail back behind it. But also pretty decent structure here with that starting to bow out just a bit. Patrick Murray, as I mentioned, this is some of the storm damage. He said some very healthy trees in that area just completely toppled over, up over across the road there. So that is going to be our concern as far as cleaning up some of that damage here with those thunderstorms tonight. The good news for us, things are going to be much more quiet in the days to come, but it's also going to be a lot cooler. We'll look at some of that cooler weather, which is actually more typical of where we should be coming up in the full First Warn forecast, maybe a little later.
Thanks, Candice. And make sure you have the First Warn Weather app downloaded to your phone. You can get severe weather alerts and watch the radar right from the palm of your hand. Great news for Rockford Public students. A new program means many could go to NIU for free. Mayor Tom McNamara announced a new scholarship today through Rockford Promise. The city would invest $1.5 million each year to help pay for students to go to Northern. To be eligible, students have to go to a Rockford public school all 4 years of high school and have a GPA of 3.0 or better. The mayor says this is the time to invest in our youth and our community.
Reducing crime is directly linked to education. Growing our economy is directly linked to education. Improving our neighborhoods is linked to education. When we increase the number of residents with college and career education, we directly impact the health and wealth of our community, period.
This isn't a done deal just yet. Rockford City Council, as well as Rockford Promise and NIU, must approve the proposal. New at 6, the veto session for the Illinois House and Senate will be canceled. In an email to House Democrats, House Speaker Michael Madigan's chief of state writes the session's canceled primarily due to rising COVID-19 rates and the upcoming holidays. Lawmakers were set to return next Wednesday, as well as 3 days in December. This comes as the state reports more than 12,000 new and probable cases today. That means we've had more than 500,000 positive COVID tests this year. More than 100,000 people were tested in the past 24 hours. The state records another 79 deaths due to the virus, including 6 here in the state line. One of the 2 free testing sites in Rockford had to close early today because it ran out of tests. The community-based testing site on Rockton Avenue closed around 2. The Winnebago County Health Department says because so many people are getting tested, the site ran out. They're getting more, but don't expect to reopen tomorrow until 1 p.m. Today, Governor Pritzker said Region 1 here in northern Illinois has nearly doubled its hospitalization peak from back in May. All 3 Rockford hospitals have concerns over the rising COVID rates. Winnebago County emergency leaders have actually requested additional hospital bed sets from the state. They say it's to help handle the surge of patients at area hospitals. The beds include oxygen and suction tools. A doctor at St. Anthony Medical Center tells us more patients are coming in than when the pandemic started back in March. He says people need to take mitigation efforts seriously.
I really believe that the people of Rockford need to respect the directions they're getting from the Department of Health and the mayor. And absolutely people need to be wearing their masks and washing their hands and respecting the social distance. That's the only way we're going to dampen the surge that we're having right now.
The positivity rate for Region 1 is currently above 18%. That's almost 3 times the rate needed to lift mitigation restrictions. Tributes pour in for Jeopardy host Alex Trebek, including one local man who competed and won on the game show in the 90s. Our Michelle Rave talked to him today.
Paul Gutowski has something very interesting to add onto his resume. Apart from being a drug and alcohol counselor, Gutowski was on 8 Jeopardy episodes back in 1996, winning 6 times. He says he looks back on his time there with very fond memories. The father of 2 walked away with more than $50,000 and says the experience of being a part of the show is something he'll never forget, especially since he had many interactions with the late Alex Trebek. He says the host was one of a kind.
Now, Alex will definitely be missed. He was unique. Consistent, professional, very mannered, while at the same time, he could also very subtly he would say something, or even through the tone of his voice, let you know that there was a personality underneath all of that.
Gutowski says it was an unforgettable experience and encourages those who want to try it out to go for it. Reporting in Rockford for your home team, I'm Michelle Rave.
Now, your first warned weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candice King.
A little more quiet, but still pretty windy out there this evening as we had a line of strong thunderstorms roll through earlier this afternoon, produced quite a bit of wind damage across southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois. Good news, that severe threat has ended for us. The bad news, now we're left to pick up some of the pieces from the damage from the wind we had at times gusting 70+ miles per hour. Our first warned storm spotter, Patrick Murray, out in Winnebago, actually estimated some of the wind damage and the wind speeds out there roughly at about 80+ miles per hour. And this all formed ahead of a cold front that is now moving into northern Illinois, tied to an area of low pressure in southwest Wisconsin. So we had those storms fire up along that, and actually an enhanced area where we had a concentrated area of stronger winds that moved in across north central Illinois and south central Wisconsin. Now that the storms are done, the wind is actually starting to pick up behind that cold front as the colder air is moving in. So as a result, wind advisory remains in effect for northern Illinois and parts of southern Wisconsin. This will last until after midnight. Now we've got some winds on the back side of that cold front from Monroe to Galena that are 45 to 50 miles per hour. Those are gusts that are upwards of that strength 30 to 35 mile per hour wind gusts with that southerly wind. So our wind speeds are actually going to increase here as we go through this evening, and that's pulling down those temperatures. We're 62 in Rockford. We really haven't seen a whole lot of movement as that front is coming through, but you notice we go from the 50s in Freeport down into the 40s out in Galena. So that colder air is coming in, and in fact you can really start to see that filter in from the west, wrapping in around that low pressure system where you've got the 30s and the 20s. So that means our overnight lows tonight are going to drop down into the lower 30s. It is going to feel a lot colder out there tomorrow morning. A live look with our Mercy House Skytrack camera now out in Beloit, Wisconsin. Things a little bit more quiet outside of the wind. We're still going to see a couple of lingering showers as those continue to work off to the east. Our skies will stay cloudy here for a while tonight and even in some spots tomorrow morning. But as high pressure builds in and that drier air comes in, we'll actually start to see more sunshine as we go through the afternoon. So tomorrow for Veterans Day actually looks pretty nice. It is going to be a little breezy with the westerly wind, but nothing as strong as what we had today. Those winds will be at about 20 miles per hour from the west, and we'll see more sunshine. Unfortunately, temperatures will be a good 20 to 25 degrees colder tomorrow than what we were today. We made it into the 70s. Tomorrow we're only going to be around 50 degrees. So it is going to be noticeably colder tomorrow, but more typical of where we should be for November standards. As we go through Thursday, there is another cold front that comes in. That might bring us a very light shower Thursday evening into Friday, but we'll dry out again for Friday afternoon. 31, that's where we head for the overnight tonight. Back up near 50. There will be a couple of spots though tomorrow that stay in the 40s. So again, a lot colder than what we're used to. Up to 56 on Thursday, 47 on Friday. We do have some rain, and we've got to watch just when that moisture comes in Saturday morning, because we might get maybe a little tiny bit of wintry weather early Saturday before the temperatures warm up. Most likely we'll see some rain for Saturday afternoon. Some of that could linger into Sunday, and then you see the dip in the numbers again into early next week.
Now, the Napleton Sports Desk with Sports Director Scott Leber.
Lena Winslow isn't the only NUIC school that has decided to go forward with a basketball season. Later this month, Durand High School agreed at its Board of Education meeting last night to do the same. The Bulldogs will go forward with practices for boys and girls starting next Monday. Games can begin November 30th. That decision goes against the grain of what the governor, the Illinois Department of Public Health, and the Illinois Board of Education have recommended. They believe the season should be put on hold, possibly until the spring. And the NUIC athletic directors held a meeting today. 4 schools have indicated they will not play basketball for now. Those schools are Aquin, AFC, Pearl City, and Pecatonica. The 14 other schools that make up the NUIC are unsure at this time whether or not they'll play. They all have school board meetings coming up in the next week to address the matter. Well, next Friday is when NBA teams can officially begin courting Fred VanVleet. That's when the NBA free agent period will start. The salary cap remains unchanged from this past season, and that's good news for VanVleet and all the free agents. It was thought the cap would drop because of the financial hit the league took this season. The Knicks and Pistons are 2 teams that could pursue VanVleet. The Raptors would naturally like to have him stay in Toronto. As if Matt Nagy doesn't have a big enough job trying to figure out how to get the Bears' offense going, he also has to fight the negativity that could creep in with a 3-game losing streak. He's determined not to let that happen.
Our greatest challenge is going to be to make sure that we all stick together, that we all stay positive. As frustrating and as upset and angry that we all are, it would not be good if we went the other way.
Former White Sox manager Rick Renteria has come up short in the voting for the American League Manager of the Year award. He finished in 2nd place. The runaway winner was Kevin Cash. Cash led the Tampa Bay Rays to the American League Championship and a World Series berth against the Dodgers. A division championship wasn't enough to garner David Ross the National League Manager of the Year award. He's finished 3rd in the voting. The award goes to Marlins manager Don Mattingly. Well, they're practicing in Augusta for the Masters, which begins on Thursday. Check out this amazing hole-in-one today. This is John Rahm having some fun, intentionally skipping his shot across the pond, and watch what happens when we speed it up for you. The odds on this have to be 1,000,000 to 1, but he puts it in the hole. Hey, maybe that's a good omen for the tournament this week.
First more interactive radar brought to us by Rockford Auto Glass and More. Things much more quiet for us this evening outside of any thunderstorms, but we've got the wind, and the wind is going to stay rather strong for the next few hours. Temperatures down to 31 degrees tonight. Wind chills tomorrow will be in the 20s, so just prepare yourself. It's going to be a lot colder tomorrow. 54 tomorrow afternoon. We'll see more sunshine. A couple of light showers Thursday night into Friday.
Thanks, Candice, and thanks for watching. We'll see you at 10.